lovely audience here under our plastic roof in the rain. I am Marcel from Modor Music, and let's take a little look at our DR2 drum machine here. The DR2 is a completely digital drum machine. It has 6 channels, 6 instruments, and for each of the 6 instruments you can choose a different synthesis model. At this moment on this drum set here, we have this bass drum, a claps, this is quite loud, a cymbal, a snare, a rimshot, and a crash cymbal. But you can constitute your own drum sets. If you want 6 snare drums in a drum set, that's all very possible. How does it work? For example, let's look at this bass drum model. It has a sine wave oscillator, and every model has a pitch setting and an amp envelope. With the decay setting or without pitch envelope. So that's the basic sine wave oscillator, and then next to that there is a parallel line where this oscillator gets distorted, filtered and distorted again. And so you can set all the filter parameters and the drive up to self-oscillation. That's one example of a model. I'm not going to all the models in detail. The drive bass drum, this is a square bass drum that has a square wave oscillator that then gets filtered with a low pass filter and a notch filter. That's a bit about the synthesis. There are 3 bass drums, 3 snare drum models, maybe a bit on that later, 3 different cymbals, and then a few minor other synthesis models. Next to that, there's also, of course, a sequencer. And you know the drill. Here are the 16 buttons with the 16 LEDs. But many people will already see it. There are not 16 LEDs, there are 32 LEDs. So what can you do? Next to the classic 16 steps, also the 30-second notes, the little notes in between, are also available to program in the sequencer. Next to that, there's also reverse instruments. What is that? Whenever the machine reaches a reverse event, it's not a sample that starts playing backwards or something. It's the drum synthesis keeps running, but all the envelopes that are involved start running backwards. So the volume goes back up, the pitch goes back up, and so you get this reverse sound. Let's program a little thing. This. We have our 4 on the floor bass drum here. So now, for example, we program a reverse here. You hear the bass drum going back. Next to that, there's also breaks to immediately break a note. let's give that an example too. So we have here a double bass drum and then 2 breaks right after them. Next to that, oh yeah, let's show it on our rimshot here, flams. Most people probably know it, it's a double hit. And you can set the separation time. And next to that there are also tuplets. That's a sequence, a number of consequent drum hits, and there's also the possibility to let them go down in velocity, like a bit like an echo effect, or like an upcoming drum roll. Can I program an example with that? Maybe I cut the bass drum. Not exactly sure where I'm going to arrive now. With an extra reverse. And so on. So there is a bit more, both in the synthesis. It's an actual drum synthesizer. It has a lot of parameters, a bit more on that soon. And also on the sequencing. It's more than just 16 steps. Let's give one more example. We go a bit more in a techno style this time. Oh yeah, maybe important, there's also on every instrument a compressor. I'm going to put a bit of compression on the bass drum here. Without compression, and with a bit of compression. Nice to know there is also a Euclidean generator in it. So let's check it now on the rimshot over here. I'll replace the rimshot pattern with a 7 hits in 16 steps Euclidean rhythm. Okay, let's check one other example. We tried to make some Modor approach on the classic amen break. Didn't work all the way through, but maybe you will recognize. let's check one last example. Oh no, let's check one other. Because what we already saw now, some classic techno, that's absolutely what you can do with the DR2. Some more special breakbeat things, but I also think you can use it for more hip-hop style things. I'm far from a hip-hop artist myself, so I don't know how I'm doing, but so maybe one last word on the synthesis. Every synthesis model has a pitch section and an amp section. That's the same in all the models. And then an X, Y, Z, T parameter that are 4 parameters that are different for any drum model. So let's, for example, we have a different bass drum here. That is the noise bass drum. And that's again a classic bass drum, and then there is a parallel. Oh, it's over here. A parallel noise oscillator, for which you can set a filter frequency. So you can use it, for example, to have a short noise burst in the beginning of your bass drum, or of course. Is often better with a bit longer decay. A lower, deeper noise layer that's going next to the rest of the bass drum. Let's get one more example. Thank you.